Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So, last time I asked you guys to help me plan Highgarde, which is the city that's going to be on the high cliffs over here, as you can see right on the map, kind of that area. And you guys were pretty awesome with getting a load of suggestions back. So I'm going to be going through all of those different suggestions and what I've actually ended up going with, or at least my rough plan. There's so many different things, but I wanted to show off everything that you guys have sent through to me via Twitter and Facebook and on YouTube as well. So, this is the kind of picture that I put up originally, and I kind of talked through on that video, you know, what I was planning on doing. What we've got is the first one. This is one that came through from Twitter, and this is RK Slayer. So there we go. Now what we've got on this one, I'm gonna hopefully you guys should be able to see my mouse as well. I'm hoping so. That'd be really good. Now what we've got here is we've got R for residence, so we've got lots of residential around here. We've also got P for professional. I'm guessing that means like shops and stuff like that. A main kind of road going through, obviously. Outpost, kind of bit there. Another kind of like outpost scouting part there. Now a lighthouse over here, and I actually think that's quite a good idea. And I quite like this bit here. Maybe use some form of elevator or crane mechanism to get up the cliffs. I really like that idea, and I think we're probably going to have that around the dock area, which is... I don't know if I can zoom in. I can't zoom in, apparently. Okay, that's fine. Let me get back onto this. There we go. Should be able to zoom. There we go. Right. So over on this side here, I think, and maybe that's where we're going to actually have some sort of elevator system. I really, really like the idea of it, though. It just sounds kind of quite funky, quite cool. And again, we've got the main keep over on this side. And bridge to small island. Now a couple of people have actually said this on like comments and things like that, which is quite interesting as well. So I don't know, we'll see about that. I know that people quite like pike for something like that, and I know we have a port down here, and I've seen again a couple of people have said about doing a port on this side, which I think is quite interesting. So we'll kind of see what we come up with, and we've got port 2 over there, so port 1 and port 2 for those different bits. But that is the suggestion by RK Slayer. So let's go on to the next one. So the next one we have is by O Grievous. Now O Grievous has also put some text with this to explain each of these different colours, so I'll go through those in turn, because I think, well, we need to. So we've got quite a large area now. He's taken a different map, I think probably from Journey Map. I'd say this is from Journey Map, of this entire area, this peninsula, whatever you want to call it. So the red part over here, this number 1, that is the Craig Keep, a large towered structure built for the ultimate siege. Being on a cliff, one might expect it to be vulnerable and easily knocked down. However, the Craig uses a metallic framing system that digs into the rock it sits upon, locking it down. Now, I quite like the idea of that. That sounds really, really cool. Don't know about Craig, because it just reminds me of a guy called Craig, which is pretty weird. But I really like the idea of the metal actually being used to literally, you know, connect it all down. So, number 2, which is the gold section, this bit right here. The Highborns of Highgarde are expected to frequently visit the Craig and give counsel to the king. In order to do so, the Garden of Gold was built, a lavishing district built for those closest to the king. The GOG is painted bright and valuable and invaluable paint in order to diversify its citizens and show off their status. I really like the idea of that, having like a high amount of colour. And making it really, really clean. I think that sounds really cool, as well as the actual garden as well. I really like that. The Garden of Gold. So it's whether we actually do have, within the higher rich district, we do have like something like that. That sounds really cool. Section number 3, which is Lime. Those who are not highborn but are known to be extremely wealthy enjoy the high life on the high cliffs of Highgarde. Tongue twister, yes. However, these citizens are anything but tongue twisters. Though their homes are not painted in exotic colours, they are expensive and quite beautiful in comparison to those of the Rat Caves. So it's called the actual caves below, which is down here, the Rat Caves. That's quite interesting. That takes up these 2 sections down here. Got the brown section, which is this big, obviously, bit around here, this entire bit. Those that are not able to live in the High Cliffs Peninsula live on the mainland. Though there is no district name that describes these residents, they're well off and range from cobblers to butchers to brothel workers. These homes are structured together and built upon one another to fit as many citizens as possible. I quite like that there's going to be a districtless name, nameless district. Okay, I'll get it the right way around. I'll get confused. So I really like that idea of here. It's quite big, that area. So that's quite interesting. The section number 5, which is orange. This is the merchant quarter. Here you can visit most of the important and more scarcely located shops in the city. You can get anything from locally caught fish to rare gemstones from the Cillian, I think it's Cillian? That's a really weird way of saying something, but that sounds interesting. Cillian Desert on the other side of Yarowyn. Quite like that name as well, and I quite like that. It's because I did say about this place being a big port, so that I quite like as well. So that's the merchant district there. Number 6, which is a dark blue. Here we go, this one over here. This is the arena. Here, hundreds of men fight to the death monthly. Many people from the rat caves are dragged here instead of being sent to the dungeons. There is one rule in the arena: don't die. I quite like the idea of that. I think we should actually tie that into the lore and have it that like Vestia does not like having people in prisons. You know, they don't have a strong prison system. Instead, they do force them to fight. Similar to how the Romans did when they had prisoners that were sentenced to death and all that kind of stuff. I quite like the idea of that. Or if they actually survive, then they go free, and all that kind of stuff really sounds good. Okay, section number 7, which is the dark green bit over here. This is the local college. Here is where the smartest and brightest minds are put to the test. There are many themes to be taught and lessons to be learned from here. It is built from an old castle that was once the centrally located keep. Ugh. It is now completely transformed and renovated to the school's need. Again, I love that idea, and I love how it used to be a castle, and how it's been renovated so we can have like a very, you know, the high academy of some kind. Now, because these guys still belong to, I still haven't got the real religion name though, they are mostly the way, the path, whatever I'm going to call it, the path of something. I think I'm going to end up calling the religion, the druidic one. That's really cool. So that would be quite good for having slightly magical people, but also just having highly educated people. And I really like the idea of it being on a old castle. It just sounds really cool to me. So purple, these are all things military and guard. From the walls that surround the city to the district dividers in case of invasion. There's also a large fort that was once part of the original kingdom that Highgarde sits upon. So that's quite cool. So number 8, the large fort that trains and houses most of the Highgarde army. So that's this bit down here. Light blue, these are the ports. So we've got lots and lots of ports around. Number 9, these are the Garden of the Gods personal ports that allow for their personal ships as well as business ships are docked. It's fairly large and houses large ships. So there we go, that's that one there. Number 10 is the Royal Dock. So we've got the Royal Dock over here. Some people have got the Royal Dock here and some people have got it here. It's really interesting to see. So sorry, there are 2 9s there across these 2 sides. So number 10, yeah, Royal Dock, where the King's personal warship is docked. I think I quite like the idea of having the King having a personal warship as well. Just makes it quite interesting, doesn't it? Number 11, known as the Jagged Shore. This is the largest of the docks that surround Highgarde. These ships are amongst the largest in the kingdom and range from military warships to diplomatic visitors. Quite like the idea of that as well. And number 12, here is where thousands of ships visit monthly to drop off goods for the merchant. Most of these ships are docked for less than a day and deliver and then leave. So there we go. That is a very, very cool map, and also I really like all the text that actually came with it. It's really, really nice and full by O Grievous, who sent that over to Twitter. So let's go on to the next bit. So next up is one by Kayuga77. So this again was another one that came through from Twitter. So what have we got? Let's have a look. So we've got the defense walls and extra armor and spikes on this bit. I quite like the idea of this being like really thick walls. So you know, one of the things in the lore is that it's although it was besieged as a city by Calandria, it never fell. So I think actually having these really, really thick walls and these kind of like almost well, really thick walls and forts and almost like mini castle type things at the beginning or front of it makes quite a lot of sense. We've also got a lot of towers around, so we've got these huge watchtowers, maybe ballista and catapult walls. So we've got them there, there, and there. We've also got gates blocking the entrance to the caves for other ships. I quite like the idea of that. Now, these caves aren't big enough to put big warships in, but actually the merchant fleet, for example, could actually be in there if there was a smaller merchant fleet around. And smaller ships could definitely hide into this bit. So it's whether we do something there or we have something that goes across it. I don't know. We'll kind of have a look at it. I think, especially on this side, down here, possibly do something like that. That'd be quite cool. We've got living district down on this side. We've got the crafting district on this side. We've got training place and barracks and living district. And this time it's a little bit different because the castle is in the middle. Now that makes it quite interesting because, well, for a very, very simple reason, which is that the caves underneath are actually down there. So you could actually have it, you know, the dungeons work their way in, and you can actually have the wall, so the walls actually having the cages and things like that look over this like dark, stinking cave. That'll be quite interesting, I think, as a way of doing it. Definitely for the kind of like castle, castle prison bit. Now the little blue bit down here is a small keep for defending the coast, which is quite interesting. So yeah, there we go. You can actually see down there. So it's got main castle with connection to the sea caves where a shipyard is. So he's got an idea of having a shipyard underneath, which would be quite interesting as well. Which I know other people have come up with similar kind of things, which is really cool. And huge marketplace right in the middle here. Got a lighthouse over on this side as well. We've got a nice tower on this one, so this is a bit different as well. And coast full of shipwrecks, corpses, and lost weapons from an invasion. So you could actually fill this up with like almost like a warning, I guess, it is the way that Cayuga 77 is going with that. And over on this side we've got docks and a black market. So there we go, we've got a black market tied into it, as well as a big cathedral. So he's actually got the cathedral on this side, which is quite interesting. So that is the suggestion by Cayuga 77. Next up we have a map that came in from Twitter. This one is by AW Peritor. So, quite full, quite busy, so let's go through it. So we've got the main port over on this side, also got a port down here, and also got a port down here. So again, another one that's got it somewhere, you know, down there. With this one got the main castle. I quite actually like the main castle, and this one he has done a little island type thing sticking out. So a couple of you guys are definitely like one in some sort of pike build at some point in the future. But a massive main castle, and then you've got different forts around, so fort there. Looks like a fort there, possibly. Fort and outpost on this side. And also a dock down there. Actually, that's quite interesting having a dock on that side. So maybe we can have like another dock. Yeah, we could actually have another dock there, couldn't we? That would be quite good. And there's quite a lot of complex roads, and also it looks like... I don't know if those are marketplaces for these blue bits, or if it's actually water. I'm not really too sure. I know there's obviously a marketplace down here, and there's a big building, so whether that's the big holy building or something else, I don't know. It's quite interesting, or something. Yeah, it could be something else. So, yeah, well, actually, one of the things that did come up was that people have said about water source, and I'll get onto that a little bit later because I'll read out that comment. But it's quite interesting. It's quite full. But I also like now one of the big things that I like about this one is we've got different ways in, and I think that's something I definitely need to work into it because you need multiple gates. So this one's got a path that goes up here from the main port, then goes into the city and actually weaves its way up the actual hill or cliff or whatever it is, which instantly makes it a more difficult path to go through. But you can imagine, you know, if you were soldiers, you would go up there, you'd have these two forts here, you wouldn't go that way at all. It just wouldn't happen. And then you've got this one here, which is the main path, which would bring most of your heavy stuff into the actual city itself, which I think is really cool. So there we go, awesome map by AW Peritor. And so we're now on to all of the Facebook submissions. So there is quite a lot of Facebook submissions. What we've got here is we've got one by a guy called Oran. So got lesser docks down on this part. We've then got big gates here. We've got a couple gates. Now this guy's actually put in 3 different gates. We've got 1, 2, and then 3 for going into the main part of the city. Over here we've got the lighthouse and thieves' den. Obviously we've got walls going all the way around it, and I think that's going to have to be something we have to do with this one. If we're going to make it highly fortified, there's going to have to be walls across it. Even if it's just so that if a ship came up here, they'd go, holy crap, I can't attack that at all. Or if I was going to fire on it, you know, nothing would really happen. There's a monument of sort over on this part, an arena as well, so it's good. The High Sept, so yeah, there's definitely needs to be some sort of... I think with the way that the story is kind of tying together all the lore of Vestia, I think there's got to be some sort of thing, because they are Calandrian kings now. They've kind of, well, they're mostly Calandrian kings. They're kind of like false Vestiska or kings or whatever I've called them in the lore, because they kind of like died out. So that'd be quite interesting. Then we've got the higher docks and the city market, so it's close to the docks. So that's always very, very important to make sure you can get all your stuff in and onto the docks as quickly as possible, really. We've also got the Prince's Keep. Now that I quite like the idea of it, and that kind of like name. And you must pay to pass into each area of class, so that'd be quite interesting. Even that will have like a custom... I don't know, what would you call it? Like a pass of some kind, like a writ of passage. You could have something like that, couldn't we, to go into the higher areas and things like that. That'd be quite interesting to keep all of the scum out. So it's either that we have to pay. So you could either pay, or you could get a pass to go through it. That'd be quite an interesting thing. But that is a really cool map by a guy called Oran. So the next one that we're on to is one by Mahmood, or Mudo Zero Gamer. There we go, Mudo Zero Gamer. Almost got that. So this is the guy from Egypt that sent this one out in onto Facebook. So let's have a look at it. So we've got this is the Highgarde power border. So he's actually got the power border of Highgarde extend all the way over into into Aelon, which is another kingdom. And I'm not really too sure what I'm going to do with this lower area. It might actually be that people of Vestia have said you cannot build a castle on this side. You cannot do it. We will control this, you know, the gap, or what's this called? The strait, I guess, area. So that'd be quite interesting as well. So they actually could have power over this, and that would actually tie in with what I've got in my head for this. Got a road to Wagrendale, so that would go around the coast, which is absolutely correct. Got farmer houses over on this side. We've also got fields and farms. So this is a bit different, actually, having fields and farms on the top of the hill, cliff. There we go. So we've got that there. We've got pirate caves underneath. Fortification and walls over on this side. So this is where we get into the fortification part. We've got another fort type thing over here, or castle over there. And they've got the docks over on that side. We've got the King's Keep and more houses. So these would most likely be the fancy houses. So that's how that all works. So there we go. Thank you very much to Mahmood, or Mudo Zero Gamer. There we go. Next one in is another submission from Facebook by a guy called Louis. So we've got the primary dock over on this side, Smuggler's Den over on this side, which is quite interesting. So we can actually, it's a very different take on it. The Royal Fleet being in this section, so that's where the Royal Fleet would kind of like sit, or whatever you want to call it. Now that would be quite interesting, especially for for ships coming in, to actually see a fleet of warships. It would kind of like be a warning to just say, just stay away. It's got the second dock down on this side. Farmland on this one, so there's another one that's got farmland at the top. Seaguard encampment, and I quite like the idea of like the Seaguard. So it's whether we actually have like a part of the royal force being called the Seaguard, or we just call like a line of the towers or something, the Seaguard line. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? We can come up with a cool name based off of that to make it work. Got the outer walls and stuff like that. We've got a slum in this part, trade district down here, middle merchant class, and then we've got the main palace. That's got an outer castle wall on there, and we've got the Royal Cove. So I quite like the idea of that's quite good names from there. So that's Louis from Facebook. Next up is one by a guy called Yanis, who submitted this one via Facebook. And he's got some writing along with it as well. So he wants to just explain and tell me the idea behind his bad painting, which isn't that bad actually compared to some of the stuff that I've done for planning before. So we've got the city, rich houses, and castle town hall, and the port is secured by a small wall in one city. The watchtowers on the coastline under the port is packed with archers to attack enemies on their ships. So that'd be across this kind of like side here, I'm guessing. To the left is only the real way up or down, so it'd be a perfect point for a little toll point. The castle and the mine on the bottom left are poor. So we've got the mine down here and all that kind of like bit over there. Compared to the other buildings, and it's just a control point for the miners. So that's quite interesting. It's quite interesting that we've got a mine in this part as well. That I haven't seen, so maybe that would be quite interesting to put in, definitely. And there we go, you got the control point over here, or toll point, or whatever you want to call it. The farms and trading huts in front of the big castle. So we've got these two farms here. We've got the little trading kind of huts and stuff like that. So all the kind of like trading district, as you might want to call it. The big castle predominantly are inspired from the Lord of the Rings books. Minas Tirith is described as a big fortress with farms in front of it. The entrance of the big castle should be safe by a moat, and a drawbridge would be a perfect place for the king, whoever is ruling the country. So I don't know about a moat and a drawbridge, just purely because, well, drawbridge could be possible, but the moat won't, because of there's no water around, which I'm going to get to that point when we get onto that picture, and I'm going to try and explain away water somehow. By magic, I think. We're going to have to use magic. But there we go, got the castle on the edge over there. So the last two projects would be the watchtower to watch over, so that's the one over here, to watch over the strait between, there we go, it is a strait, yeah, between Highgarde and the island on the bottom right. To the left it could be a hidden smuggler port on the watchtower cliffs, so down here, there we go, like that. So that's another really interesting one. We've got watchtowers going all the way across here. The control point here, another castle town hall type thing, rich houses over here, and the city over on this side. So this is a different way of doing it. Now this actually works because of we could actually have a stream or some sort of rivers or something like that coming down from maybe these hills, or there could be a spring, and that's where you could get water from. Whereas we don't actually have any water coming from here, and I'm going to have to try and figure that out. It's either going to be something where, you know, like for example in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, where, you know, there actually isn't that much water. There's actually underwater rivers, so they actually use, you know, they wait for the rain to actually fall to actually grab that and grab that water. And when obviously it doesn't rain, there is a drought, which kind of sucks. It's either that, or we have something where there is some sort of like spring or something, like a magical spring or something. We can make some magic around that. Maybe we could have a magical spring, and that's actually where some sort of religious building is. I don't know. Who knows? But thank you very much to Yanis for sending that one through. And now on to something completely different. So this one was sent in by a guy called Hunter on Facebook, and this is the only, of all of them, the only, well, drawn one, which is really, really cool. The castle itself is really quite impressive. I got another picture. Luckily, he took a couple pictures, so we can zoom in. I've got all of this text. He also took a picture of that to make it a lot easier. So, if we have a look at this, this is obviously on the side view instead of the actual top-down view. So we've got the sea caves here and there. So we've got like a castle type thing there. We've got lots of towers and stuff going on to that. And then we've got the main castle up here, which is ginormous, massive, and super duper big. So, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at this this bit down here, which is the main plan. This is actually a drawn version of the whole thing, and it's really, really cool. So let's have a look. Sorry, guys. Right, if I get the picture up, it might help, won't it? Not that one. That one, there we go. So, number one, which is... There we go. It's really difficult to tell where everything is. I might actually turn this onto its side, possibly. Let's rotate it. There we go. Rotate that. Zoom in loads. I'm hoping I can move down. There we go, that's getting help quite a lot. Right, so number one, that's much better. The main gate and drawbridge, so that's over on this side. So we've got like proper... defense on that time. We got the triangle keep, which is over on this bit here, over here. Number 3 is the lower yard. The upper yard is number 4 over here. Number 5 is the entrance to the docks and stuff. So there we go, that's that bit there. So there we go. Entrance to the cave, docks and shipyards. So that'll be on this side here. Then number 6 is where we've got the warehouses and blacksmith, that kind of area there. So 6 there. I think we've got another 6. Damn it, I had to click, didn't I? We got another 6 over there as well. Let me zoom back in again. Number 7 is the stables. Number 8 being the barracks and armory. And number 9, wherever that is, I can't even see it. Where is it? It's all around, unless it's that one. And that's just number 9, upside down, obviously. Possibly that. That is the high yard, so I'm guessing that would be over here. This is where it's really difficult to tell. I've got the high yard. Number 10 is... the north buildings for higher ranks. That's number 10 in this part, so these are the higher ranks in these bits. Number 11, the kitchen and larder, over in this bit. Number 12, kitchen, docks and guard tower, so that is over here. There you go, over on this side. Number 13 is the lighthouse for the southern entrance to the docks. So 13 is over here, there we go. So we've got another lighthouse on these rocks, so I think we're going to have to do a lighthouse on those rocks. Number 14 is the southern bailey. We'll go down there. 15 is the northern bailey. Number 16 is the guard keep. So that's down, that's over there. Number 17 is the Highgarde keep. So there we go, Highgarde, which makes sense. There we go. And number 18 is the nobleman's apartments, which will be in this section over here. Really, really royal household there. Number 19. I think that's another cave for info. There we go, so that's in there. And number 20 is the cave, dockyards and shipyards and the Royal Fleet's home. So really interesting and completely different than any of the other ones that we've actually got. It's really, really cool. So thanks for sending that one in. Okay, and now on to another one. So this one is has been submitted by Tom Van Beek, and this was submitted via YouTube. So what have we got? So we've got the Calandria City being the new city, and we've got the Nordic part being the old city. So it's split into 2. So for example, you've got the light blue down here is the early town hall of the Nordic dynasties, built as rich Nord district, now high middle class, so that's that blue bit there. Got the low middle class district in here, and also the poor district on the end here, so this is a completely different way of doing it. I've also got the Nordic religious building, which is over on this bit, old city wall, and also the old cliff wall, so old cliff wall being around here, and old city wall being here. Okay, so I'm just having a look at this purple bit. So we've got the docks down on this side, we've got the market and storage being down here, I believe. Or is that... Nope, that is what that is. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up with the colours because they're slightly similar. So we've got that there, and we've also got a path going down, which is really interesting, I think. Going down onto this bit from up this side rather than from this side that I've seen on some other pictures, which is really cool. Also got a lighthouse over on this part. A few people have said that now. That's quite interesting. And if we got to the Calandrian, the new city part, we've got the Royal Palace over on this bit down here. So that's actually quite low down, because there's obviously that bit drops down. It's either that or is that... No, actually I think that's the Royal Palace. This is me being like colourblind. I'm not colourblind, but struggling with colours. So we've got the Royal Palace on this part. We've got the super rich district around here then. We've got the high middle class districts around here, and we've got the low middle class, and then we've got the poor districts, nearly slums on those bits, and then we've got the Calandrian religious building, and also new city wall and new cliff wall around each of these sides, and then we've obviously got the docks and market and things like that down on that side. So yeah, it's pretty cool on that one. And on to another YouTube one. So this one is by Real Boris Both Connects. So there we go, that's Both Connects? I don't know, I have no idea, but I'm trying to say it. So what we've got here is we've got the shipyard over on this side, we've got the orange bits could be farms on this bit, so another one with farms at the top. We've got an alternate path that goes around like here, bridge going across here. It's the first time I've seen a bridge going across, which might be quite interesting, I think. I think we'll actually have to have a look at that, because I do want to make some sort of like big bridge type things. So it might be quite an interesting way that we could have, you know, a path going up this way, but actually going into the dock part. It's whether these docks we actually end up building a wall around. If we built a wall around it, then we could actually have a bridge going down, which would be really interesting. And defense-wise, obviously, it's pretty good. So that could be quite interesting. We've got mostly forest and small civilizations down there, and maybe some paths from the farm to the city as well, going across obviously these bits around there. So that's quite interesting. And dark red is a path from the main, from the shipyard to the main city to transport cargo. So that's why you get this bit going across here down into there. So that's quite interesting there. So yeah, that was by submitted on YouTube by Real Boris Boef Connects, I think. So yeah, pretty cool. So next up, we've got another one from that was submitted on YouTube by Giovanni Sullivan Massa. So what have we got? I've had to zoom in a little bit, so I can't do the full screen thing. We've got the Highgarde docks over on this side. We've got no walls on this bit going here, so I'm guessing there's going to be a path here, maybe. I don't know. We've got thin, short walls on this side. Mostly farms on this bit, a watchtower over on this side, major gatehouses right in here, so this is where the walls start. We've then got city guards and barracks over here, which I've seen that a couple of times, which is quite interesting. Poor part of Highgarde being in this part, and thin, short walls on this bit. Got the middling quarter, not poor, but not wealthy, kind of like area in this section here. The merchant quarter, which I quite like the name of that merchant quarter. I know it's very simple, but sounds kind of cool. King's docks over on this side, and the nobleman's quarter over on this bit. We've got a major tower over on this side here. Lighthouse on here again. Thick walls onto this part where we get the layer of defense, and I definitely think that when we do the castle, we're going to have like a multi-leveled castle, or like a concentric castle where you've got multiple layers of defense in it, even if it's only on this front part. Obviously, the whole city's got it, but those are different than the actual castle itself. We've got the nobleman quarter, obviously there, yeah, major towers, and King Rohannesson I's personal keep as well. So there we go, and then the last layer of defense on this part here, which is pretty cool. So there we go. That was a YouTube submission by from Giovanni Sullivan Massa. And on to another one. So this one was submitted on Facebook. This was by Eclipse Assassin. So what's going on? We've got farms, got a wall and gate going across this bit, the actual peasant slums around here, city port over on this side, military training grounds and barracks, small fort and guard tower over on this part here. We've got the blacksmith, carpenter and tailor is all in this part here. And we've got the commoner and middle class section here, church on this side. I actually quite like the idea of that being there. The city square being like pretty much dead in the middle of the peninsula, really. Merchant district over on this side, and we've got markets. Gladiator and fighting pits over in the middle kind of bit here. We've got the bureaucratic politician noble section in this bit. More docks on this side, more docks on this side down here. Some statues and monuments, cool natural rocks. I actually really like the idea of having like statues or monuments or something on them, on these rocks, almost like as a, as you come into this bay. We're gonna have to have a name for this bay at some point, because it does share between 4 kingdoms, I think it is actually. It's Vestir, we've got Vagenbrae, we've got Calandria, we've also got Aelon as well. All of those share this base, so it's quite a big historic site, I guess. So we're gonna need a good name for that. But yeah, that'd be really interesting to go through, so you're actually going into here via some of these big statues and things like that. So we've got the Great Lighthouse over here, and we've got the keep where the king lives, of course, and there's a wall around the keep on that side, so that's really, really cool. So that was a submission on Facebook by Eclipse Assassin. So next up we have another YouTube submission. This one is by or from Danger Boys. I keep saying by or from, don't I? This one's from Danger Boys. So what we've got over here is maybe a lighthouse for the port, which is over on this side. Now I can't read all the writing, but I think we've got main port and docks, something. I'm not sure what that says. Let's see if we can actually zoom in. Let's see, it's not always good. More hillside town? I think that's what that says. And we've got hillside fishing town. Oh, okay, yeah, I can read some of it. Some farms, higher walls on flat ground over on this side going across here. Now this bit, main city. Okay, so the main city being in this part here. We've got walls around this bit. Close to port and behind a wall inside this bit. Maybe a couple of shady joints in the cave sideways, entrance to the sewers, so in this bit. And we've got a lighthouse for the sea farmers around here. So I'm guessing by sea farmers, guessing not English speaker, but yeah, lighthouse for the obviously the fishermen. There we go. And then we've got homes and such. So yeah, all of those in there. And what else we got around here? Let's have a look. So we've got lower walls on steeper ground. Okay, that's fair enough. Makes sense. Military Navy docks close to the Royals for defence. Makes sense. Big castle here. Castle and let's have a look here. And spires, towers built off cliffs so high, no weapon are a threat, which makes sense actually because these are so high up. So that'd be quite good. So we've got walls and towers, maybe a chateau with fancy gardens, ocean view type thing over here. And we got all that kind of stuff. So there we go. That's what that all looks like. So that was a submission that was on YouTube by Danger Boys. So we've got another submission that that was sent over on YouTube. This one is by Cosmang. So it's nice and simple, and I actually kind of like it because it's got this kind of like simplistic view, but it kind of works. We've got like the common folks harbour over on this side here, the peasant and farmers on this bit, the bourgeois and artisans on this section here, and then we've got the nobles, which have got a gigantic chunk. They've also got the nobles harbour, which I kind of like. Got a watchtower over on this bit, then we've got the castle, we've got the royal harbour, and I quite like it because it all just kind of, I don't know, it kind of flows into these different classes very, very simply. You've obviously got different walls between each of the sections as well, except for the peasants and farmers. It looks, well, actually no, it does look like they got a wall, so that's okay. They're at least going to be alive, I guess, at the end of it. But I quite like how the nobles and the nobles harbour is there, so you can have all these nobles, you know, with the big houses, and they kind of like control the trade going into the city, and that's where they get all the money. And then the king obviously just taxes the crap out of them, and that's how he gets his money, and things like that. But it's quite interesting, isn't it? It's nice, simple, but quite nice as well. Next up we have another YouTube submission. This is from Lorenz Coleman. So this one's quite nice, and I really like this bit in the middle. Kind of caught my eye like instantly. Literally just this bit. I don't know why, it just did. So we've got the essentials part of it, which is city walls, which is all of the blue going around it. So we've got quite a lot of city walls. I really like the road work on it. It's awesome. I've also got the city gates as well. So for example, city gates there, a couple gates on here. Now this has got more of a fortification on this side, which is quite interesting. We've got the palace walls, which are over on... Oh, where are the palace walls? Over in here. There we go. I can finally see them. So they're on this side here. And we've got all the streets, obviously, are just absolutely everywhere. Going everywhere around. I really like this, where it's all like weaving up and down the like hills and things. I actually really quite like the road work that he's done on this. It's awesome. So the old town, we've got the old poor quarter, which is over on this bit. The old middle class district. And then we've got the old posh neighbourhood over on this side. Then the new town, we've got the new posh neighbourhood, which is on this bit. We've got the new middle class district, the new lower middle class kind of like quarter, and the new poor quarter down here. Then we've got the ghetto in this bit. Yes, that's the really poor slums and everything. Then we've got the castle gardens, I think over on this section here and over in this bit here, which is quite interesting. And then we've got castle buildings, which is over on this bit, so it's on that peninsula there. We've got the naval harbour over on this side here. Markets and industrial area and harbour town, all that kind of stuff is all around this bit here, which is quite interesting. The roadworks on that is really cool. It just is. We've got city fields over on this bit, a lighthouse which we've got over there, and we've got the new and old arena. So the new and old arena down there. So the gardens, where are the gardens then? Castle gardens must be, unless they're down on one of these sides. Possibly. I can't tell the difference between the two colours of pink, unless that's the gardens. Or isn't that? Oh no, that's the new arena. Sorry, that's the new and old arena. So there we go, that's the arena. So that's centre stage. I quite like the idea of that, and maybe we can tie that, like the arena, really heavily into the city's kind of heritage and things like that. That'd be really cool. But that is a submission from YouTube, from Lorenz Coleman. And next up, we've got a submission that was posted to me on Facebook by Darkpaw or Game Destroyers. So let's go over it. it's quite full, and I've left two of the more detailed ones, I'd say, till last. And one of the things I absolutely love about this one is the arena and temple district. It reminds me so much of Oblivion being the Imperial City and having that kind of, you know, you have something in the middle that's circular and then everything else has to kind of fit around it. I quite like that. We've also got the nobility houses all the way on this bit. Warehouses down here, and we've got the marine barracks down on here. I quite like that. You know, maybe we should have, because they did used to have, you know, marines on ships, which are pretty much just soldiers really, but maybe we can have the Kingdom of Vestia being quite a naval. Well, they are going to be quite a naval power, really, and that's why Calandria kind of like just wiped through them, because they just didn't have that kind of military might on land. But maybe we could have it that you know, they do have a strong marine force, and I quite like that. And we've got the Royal Inn down here, which again I quite like the name of that. Royal Stables in this section down here. The King's Castle in style of a French fortified villa being on this section. Either a Major's Tower or Black Tower for royal prisoners in this section here. Giant statue of the king or a god of the seas. And again, like, this ties into the kind of things that I've seen a couple times, which I really like the idea of, which is having those absolutely like big statues and that kind of thing. Really interesting. And then we've got the Royal Guard barracks on this side here. Royal Mint and Depository. Now that's something we absolutely need to get in, the Royal Bank. And that will literally be, yeah, like a Royal Mint really. It's going to be something that the house itself keeps looking after, and it's whether it is in the main keep or if it's going to be actually like it is here and actually have it on its own separate thing. So if we go on to this section here, we've got the shops, market and warehouse district. Some warehouses have secret entrances to the sea caves for smuggling. I really like the idea of that. I think that's awesome. So that's all in this section here. And we've got the guard barracks over on this side. We've also got sea caves contain more slums, smugglers' ports and things like that. I love the idea of that. I think that's come up quite a few times. It's awesome. And we've got middle class housing and guild halls all being in this section here. Then we've got the lower class housing and shops in this section here. Tannery, dye works, mills and other nasty industries being outside of the city gates. And we've got tracts of farmland from here, just literally just all on this side here, I'm guessing. We've got the hovels and slums in this section. We've got the quarry and stone masons guild over here, the vineyards over on this section, stockyard, you know, cattle market type thing over here, so that'd be quite smelly. Warehouses, tax and tariff office, which we absolutely need to remember. And now this one's obviously got a wall going all around this section as well, which is I'm debating now. I'm not sure if I want to have it, or I think I might have to have it. It would make more sense to do it if that's the main port, rather than these smaller ones that might be around. We've also got the harbour masters and home and office. Sea fort with long reach weapons to defend the port. So if we go over wall, I think we absolutely need to do that. We almost need to have like a wall that comes out to here or something, quite far, and then has like a fort of some kind on the side. So then the ships would come in and then dock in here, and you wouldn't be able to almost like escape without being fired upon if you were pretty bad. Taverns and brothels down on this section. The wharfs with large open air storage areas over here, very similar to modern day docks. So that's pretty much it. It's really good. It's really quite full and quite interesting. And also he's put a lighthouse all the way down here, which is quite interesting as well. So I mean, it's really interesting to see all these ones. This one's quite full, and I quite like how, again, it's quite segmented, which is quite good for building. If I'm doing this by myself, which I am going to be doing this by myself, it does kind of make it a little bit easier for me, I guess. So we'll see how that goes. So that was one by that came through on Facebook by Dark or Game Destroyers. So there was a comment with this as well. He said the only thing that he sees wrong with the city is that there's no water source. So water is either going to be stockpiled in cisterns, which would have to be massive, or maybe piped in, maybe a Roman-style sewer water system under the city. Yeah, so that's going to be quite an interesting thing that we have to kind of deal with, I think. And it could be that it is piped in somehow. Maybe there's going to be something over here where we've got 10,000 peasants running on a treadmill, and that obviously pumps water up from somewhere else. But we're going to have to think about how that's all going to work and get that water into the city. Maybe do store it in like these cisterns we can have, and also with like almost do it where you have different water supplies for different classes of people. You know, the like Rome had, really, where you had these public drinking places, but you also had the private supplies as well. So we'll have to have a look at that. But awesome thing from Darkport or Game Destroyers. And last but not least, we have a submission that was on Facebook by Lionheart or Rich Uncle. So let's go through this one. So we've got more farms around the sides. We've got farms, lots and lots of farms around here. Over on this side we have the amphitheatre style arena overlooking the sea with underground facilities. Now that is quite an interesting idea, I think. Especially to have something like that, it'd be really quite... I don't know, it'd be quite epic, wouldn't it, if you had all this, like, you've got all the seats here, and they're actually fighting almost like on a cliff edge. I mean, imagine that, it'd be terrifying, really, wouldn't it? We've then got the slums down on this side anyway, warehouses, the tavern, shops, offices, boarding houses, and another tavern as well, lots of taverns apparently, which is what they want, and a shipyard, smaller boats being built around this side here. So we've got anchored ships around in the bay, because there would actually be the bigger ones that couldn't actually dock would definitely be out in the bay. We've got slums, smuggler dens, and maybe thieves guild in the sea caves. Please make them smaller. So you want to make the caves actually smaller. They are massive, but I don't know. I kind of like how big they are because it's ridiculous. Also got warships, weapon stores, especially cannons, forges, maybe barracks, all on this side of the arsenal on this side. So that would kind of tie in quite well, because you could have it that, you know, you'd see people coming in on ships in this way, and then you'd be able to muster all of your forces here, and you've got everything to basically head them off and fight them here, especially with the castle firing down as well. You would just completely own them, I think. Whereas if they were further away, it would take a little bit longer to muster them and get them out, maybe. So if I want lighthouses, I can by all means just stick them on any top of any tile, which, yeah, makes sense. Try to fit a chapel, maybe. Normal keep stuff living quarters here. Great hall backing onto the sea. Great big windows and balconies. I really like the idea of that. The gallows being on here. This is quite a unique idea. It just reminds me of like Pirates of the Caribbean, like the first one where you see the pirates hanging up outside of, I'm guessing it was Kingston. I think it was Kingston. But that was just really interesting there. So different idea of doing it, but we could definitely have actually hanging people. You know, like just maybe we build an extra rock or something somewhere just to put them on there. Got a solar or court mage tower over on this section here. Stables, barracks in towers, basement storerooms, granary. Only a small smith for horses or none. More smiths in arsenal instead. Great big gatehouse, including one larger, taller tower on the coast side. So that's over on this bit where we've got the bailey and things there. Towers with lower battlements for cannons, or perhaps instead replace one or two towers with trebuchets on turntables. I quite like the idea of that. I think that'd be quite interesting, especially I'm actually thinking maybe even doing that across this side. I know that they'd have cannons there, but maybe we have cannons across the sea, and then we go for the traditional kind of like massive trebuchet type things around these sides. We've got barracks, small weapon, food stores around here. More defences on the ocean side than the bay side, because the defences would have originally been built mostly in fear of the great orc attacks. If the walls predate Vestia's independence from Calandria, there'd be no reason to build more defences facing into the bay, so there we go. Assume the unknown named Yellow Country beside Vestia once being Calandrian too. I'm guessing that's all that says there. And yes, it used to be under Calandrian control. Almost like all of the western part of Yarowyn was at one point. So that's quite interesting. But if we go through some of the buildings now, so we've got the big stable there. Big inn and stable, I think that's what that says. So it's quite difficult to read there. Got the home and shops over in this bit. We've got a big gate compound. I quite like the idea of this. It's like, you know, you go through the outer gates, and this would work with this kind of wall. You know, where you've got a later wall that's been built, and then actually you've got this big wall over on this side, big gate on this side that would actually be the entrance to the city. Got shops, you've got market, you've got more shops, you've got city stables and smithy, temple or cathedral right in the centre again, which is quite interesting, and that would definitely be a Calandrian kind of thing where they would just knock down people's houses and put those in. It's quite interesting. Got homes on this side, upper homes as well. I think this is upper class homes. Sorry, upper class homes there. We've got manor houses over there. Definitely need like a big manor section, I think. Homes and the bailey, the outer bailey and the inner bailey. So this is quite interesting as well. So there's even more space actually been taken up by the main castle grounds, and then that goes down to the arsenal, which is quite interesting, I think, because then you can have, you know, you could actually have it quite separated, and it would definitely work with that. So really, really cool submissions submission from Lionheart Rich Uncle. So first things first, guys, I want to thank you all for sending in all of your submissions. It's been absolutely awesome. It's been really quite interesting for me to see them all. And basically next we're going to get on to my plan. But if you guys enjoy, you know, doing these submissions, seeing them on YouTube, I think it's really cool. We can do this for every single city, really. Obviously not a town, because towns are quite small unless it's a bigger town. But I think it's been really interesting and really good. So yeah, thanks so much, guys, for sending everything through. I'm going to be drawing from all of them in the plan that you're about to see. Okay, so here is my plan. So this is kind of, well, it's based on a lot of you guys' ideas. And it's kind of, well, it's a bit of a mix, really. So I'll kind of talk you through it. I'm also planning on showing you guys some bits. So one of the things that I've done, and a couple of you guys had this, where you had this like extra wall that went out and then went into the sea, and I really like the idea of that, and that almost having like a sea fort type thing. Think Fort Boyard kind of thing, that kind of thing over there. I'm even tempted to have one off of this main port here, so you actually have a wall that then goes to some sort of thing, and the wall could be literally just be, you know, a bit of stone, so it'd stop ships from coming through and crashing through. People could walk to it, and that then goes to like a big tower type building, so that it would then, if people were trying to get around to get into these ports, either this one or this one, they would then be met by, well, you know, something that's blocking it anyway. So I might do that as well. That's one of the ideas. But I absolutely love this idea. So yeah, we've got that. We've got the main port will be in here on this side. So I've just put that in a coloured area. I've not done too much planning. You've then got some slums behind that. So these slums are going to be more of the kind of like dock slums. A lot of the dock workers that are quite poor. There's going to be a lot of obviously warehouses, taverns, things like that, really. A couple shops as well for bits and bobs, but not really anything that's really, really high class, I guess, you know, not the higher class stuff. Now there's 3 different ways into the city from this side of the port. You've got a very, very winding path up here. Now this is going to be quite windy. I'll show you guys that in a second. We've then got it going up onto this part as well. Now this one I'm actually going to have a bridge going down into the middle of the slums. So this one's going to, you know, that's why I've got this extra thing here. So it goes around. Let's go to about here. So we've got all these towers that be able to shoot down onto it if they were able to breach this. And then it's going to be on a quite big bridge, which will obviously we'll have another path going like underneath it, maybe into this pit. Probably I'll change these paths, but that's the plan for that. And you've also got the main path that actually goes up into the city here. So this is the one that, say, if you were having anything heavy, you'd bring it into the port here, and it'd be around this way, and this would be the most gentle way in. Now, because of that being the most easiest way in, obviously we've got towers on this side and a wall. We've got towers on this side as well, and we've also got towers here, and I've got this like triangle fort. I did see that on one of you guys' plans, and I thought that was quite a cool idea, actually. I know it was like down here or something, but I thought it was just cool. It was really cool. Now, on the other side as well, we've got a small port down here and some slums. There's 2 different ways in from there, so we've got another windy path going up into that one. I don't know if I'll actually use that one or not. Well, we'll see how practical it is. I have been flying around and seen, and I'm not too sure. But we've also got another path that goes through this main way again. If we do the winding one, that will be not really for anything heavy at all. It'll just be for the lightest, well, people really that are trying to get into the city for some reason. And the Mages College over here. So that was a really, really cool idea that somebody think. I don't think it's a Mages College. I think it's a university. But we'll probably go with half and half. Maybe we'll have a university or something that then also has, you know, magic. Maybe, I don't know. We'll kind of see how it goes. But that's going to be like an old castle that's been repurposed, or maybe it's bought by the college. So it might be like I don't know, the Yarowyn College of Mages, something like that, you know, because we got the druids, but we could also, I also want to have like quite a heavy like mage order type thing that's also there, like have a real mix, you know, just because the druids have got like magisters, it doesn't mean that there's other people studying the arcane arts, and I kind of want to have some sort of network with that. With that down here, we've got a little port as well. That's literally going to be a very, very small port. Won't have that much stuff going in, but probably some of the black market stuff gets into here, and also into the sea caves. The lower class part is around here. I might change where this. Actually, I might change where the nobles' wall is and move it across, so we've got like more space. The lower class is where we're going to have the arena, because it's mainly built for them. So you get people coming in from the slums that come into here, and also the lower class that maybe if they've betted a load of money, they'll go into the arenas. Something like that will happen. We'll have the middle class in this bit, and again, it might extend. There is an extra layer of defense here where we get, you know, when you go through 2 different gates, so you have to get through that one, then through the next one, and that's where you get to the nobles. Now the nobles will have the main cathedral, so this is going to be the Order of the Thunder Cross. That is going to be part of this. So this is going to be under Calandian rule. They knock down a load of the noble houses. Maybe they killed them, I don't know, to kind of scare the nobles to death, really, and you know, enforce their rule. And they actually built a big kind of cathedral type thing in there, so that'd be quite good. That's kind of like right in the centre. We've also got a port down on the side. Like I was saying, I'm probably going to have an extra extension onto here. And I've also tried to make it so the path is a little bit windy. We have got a port down here. This one's going to be a pretty difficult port to get into. It'd have smaller ships, maybe more specialist ships due to the rocks that are around it, so it's going to be quite a bit dangerous. There is going to be a lighthouse on here. I haven't marked it on there, but I'm planning on doing one. We're going to have a monument here, so this is going to be probably like King's Bay, or the... We'll have a cool name for this strait, I think, and that'll be a big monument as you come into the bay. Obviously the bay is joined by a lot of people. And I'm not going to have a port down here. It just looked too steep. So instead we'll have this monument, but we could have like crashed ships somewhere around it, maybe, and maybe that would be quite interesting to do. Right, so yeah, this port, windy path, so again, only small goods that would be able to get into the nobles part. This then goes into like an open courtyard area, which is pretty much a kill zone. On this side here, I am probably going to have either a garrison, so it'll be the main royal garrison in here, or some special order of troops, you know, or something in there, the special, or the vault or something, but I have been thinking about the vault down here. That'll go around here, and then get another inner area here. I have made it windy, so you're pretty much just getting shot at all the time as you're trying to make your way to the next gate. But most likely I'll have, you know, this will get cut off somewhere, even if it's across here, to have more of a defense on one side, and then we get the main castle. So that's the main plan so far. So if I talk you guys through it without zooming in, I do have Minecraft up as well. So I'm going to do it with, God, I'm not doing very well today. I'm going to do it with the bigger map up. So if we have a look inside, I mean, so if I do this to far, and then my computer will complain a little bit, but it'll be fine. This is the main channel that will come in. Ooh, wow, it's just gone laggy. This is the main channel that goes into the main port. So what I'm probably going to do is actually cut this back a bit, so we actually have more space for ships to dock in, because I do want to get some big ships. I'm also going to dredge this. I know, using technical terms there, but I'm gonna cut into that essentially to do stuff. Now probably around about here, going across into somewhere into this area here. Probably not where we've got that, but this is where I'll have the other tower. So that'll be somewhere around here for the sea fort. Let's call it a sea fort, and that'll go all the way around. That will then go around onto this bit, all the way up here. We've got a hill. Here we go. It goes onto this hilly bit. Probably not that high up onto the hilly bit, actually. I'll probably have it... Well, no, I will. I'll have it go onto this bit, then around, and there's another bit of hill right here where we'll have like some sort of big tower type thing, even if it's just a big wide tower, which, you know, just like sticks up over on this bit of the land. That will then come all the way across this bit and be brought up. So this is where we've got the path, the smoother path. It actually goes up this bit. I know it doesn't look very smooth at the minute, but we're going to smooth that out. And then that's where it will come into around about here. So this is where we're going to have a wall going across. The windy path is probably just going to go... Well, not the windy path, sorry. The other gates will probably go from here, go around. We'll have that tower onto this bit. This will just pass over here. And this is where I'm planning on having the main kind of that bridge that I was talking about. And that will go probably right into the middle here. Somewhere where it'll just kind of like drop in, or it might even go over onto this side. It probably would make more sense to go over onto this side, and then we actually have it wind down as a path, and that'll be quite a nice feature, I think, to make it look kind of cool. There we go. Ooh, it's very difficult to show you guys because it's a bit, yeah, it's more difficult. This is where we're going to have the cut going across. I'm just going to get the image I've got here on the other screen because it's going to be a lot easier if I can do that for me. There we go. That's much better. So what we're going to have here, yep, we're going to have the cut going across here. So this will be a wall going all the way across, and then it will link up onto this side. Now on this side we'll then have a another gate. Now this gate is going to be the weird windy one, so we're going to have it going across here. We're going to end up flattening out a little bit around here, go down to this bit, and then it'll go around again and around again until we get to the bottom, which is why you'll kind of like look up and go, oh my god, there's such a windy path, and you'd have all these towers around, so you just wouldn't want to attack from there, even though you think, I can get into the port, I can bypass some towers. No, you're kind of wrong, you're going to die. That's the idea anyway. So if I find the next bit, so the next bit, so that's mainly into there. Let's have a look at where we've got. So I've done it a lot off of these. So then the next bit is going to be roughly where we've got in between these two gigantic sea caves. Is going to have another wall going across. It's going to have that major kind of keep bit going in, and then that'll link onto the other side. Again, trying to keep in between these two, so I think I'll move it a little bit on my picture. We've also got, because most of this is all going to be kind of, it's very difficult to show you guys without actually doing anything. Then we're going to have another gate around here. Again, this bit here, it'll go down to here, probably wind down, probably do another wind down, and then it'll be into like this area here, and then we'll have another little bit of a port really. And it's whether I connect onto this side here, actually have some sort of wall, whether it's lower down or not, that actually goes out to somewhere about here, just an extra bit of defense. So if there was people coming in from that side in ships, they would then be hit by obviously the main castle, all of the walls around there, but also they would also get hit by here. So if there was some ships in here, they'd be able to go, oh crap, we need to muster, we need to get cannons ready or whatever, or we need to move, we need to get it further inland. So that would be the plan. And we've got the other port over here. So this one's going to be a very, very small side port, and I'm probably going to end up cutting back this hill and cutting it down a little bit. I still want to have multi-layers on this, so I want to have some weird like houses and stuff that have been just built into the side of it. Not really a rich area, but you know, something there. But they then linked onto the noble, so they'll be selling their wares for a bit more. And again, doing a windy path going down, so it's like quite difficult to get to. Lighthouses on these, or well, on this. So I'll probably have a lighthouse on here. Maybe we can even have it going across to, yeah, maybe we'll have a lighthouse onto the main one there, but it'll have like a little bridge going onto this one. Maybe there'll be a house on this one, and then this will have a bridge actually going over to this. That'd be quite cool. I think that'd look really neat. I won't have to do that. We'll have a look at it. And of course the sea caves, or should we have a look at the monument? We'll have a look at the monument place first. There we go. I'm in spectator mode at the minute, so I can go ridiculously quick. I love it. It's awesome. So there we go. This is probably where we're going to have the monument. So we'll have some sort of large monument type thing standing over, so that when you actually go into these, you know, the straits of whatever we're going to call this, you actually have it around here. And it's whether, I was then thinking, do we actually, when we go onto onto Aelon, we got some rocks around here, whether we have another monument on the other side of the water as well, like two guardians, you know, the guardians of blah, Yarowyn, or whatever bay we're going to call it. So I was thinking we could maybe do something like that, which would be quite cool. So let's go into the sea caves, because the sea caves are really good. So a lot of you guys have said about the sea caves and what I should do with them, and there's so many good ideas. So at the minute we've got, there we go, we're going. They're quite big. I mean, they really are quite big. Now you could probably get a small brig or something through this. Maybe, I don't really know. It's very difficult to say, but you could probably get you could get small ships in here, and I think we want to try and keep that as like a way in. And we're going to have something in the lore where these were created by something. I don't really know. We'll come up with something that sounds really good. I really like how that one's gone blue. That's really cool. So we'll come up with something where it sounds really good. Now, I know some people have said put some really gigantic doors on them. I'm not too keen on the door idea, but what I could do is actually have, you know, almost some like stones falling in over time, and they've actually built it up. They've actually built up like a wall or something, or maybe in the caves themselves we are going to have, well, they're going to be the real slums are going to be down here, like the weird people that live in caves. A lot of the black market, when they're sailing in small ships, trading in. I thought about having, you know, almost like, you know, stuff on stilts that's on like these inner sides where the waves will be less, and things like that, and also having obviously it linking up, because of course we can do this in this mode. I absolutely love spectator mode. Having them actually linked up with the, you know, different warehouses and things like that. I think that's got to happen. I think it's a really cool idea. But I also want to have some sort of like prison type thing, maybe like sticking out of some of these, where we actually have some people, you know, where they're pretty much just like right on the edge, and it's always looking over at the water or something, you know, a bit like really small. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. We'll kind of see how that all goes. But we're definitely going to have something there, and if you guys have got any ideas for how we can, like, not block them up, because I think we need at least one of them, even if it's, you know, this one pretty much goes straight the way through without any issues, and it looks like it's one of the bigger ones, and then that goes into this part of the bay. So I mean, we can do something there, definitely. It's whether we then end up having most of the slum part of it in here or something, do you know? Yeah, maybe. It'd be quite interesting to see you guys' thoughts on that, but definitely the something caves. I know people said rat caves before. Don't know about rat caves, but it'll be something caves. So if we go over onto this side, so there's not going to be any sort of stuff on this side at all. Just going to leave it completely blank. Obviously we got the in-cut part here when I was messing around with a brush on that stream one time, so I'm going to leave that as is. We'll go around onto this side here. So this again is the edge of the first wall. So this is where I was thinking of possibly having a weaving path go down from here, or down from here, and then weave across this bit, and then maybe go down again into this place, and then again. I was thinking of maybe weaving up there, but then I decided actually I'm just going to do it going around here, so you have like a longer way around to go up onto this bit, and then from this bit you would then go into your main area here where we've got those multi-leveled, the extra defences. Sorry, I got a bit of a cold at the minute. So we have like a tower here or something, you know, something like that would do. That's what I think. And then we'll have a couple little docks around here, but most of this will be, you know, slumland type thing, or just warehouses, or it might just be like abandoned, or, you know, kind of just not as good. It depends on what we want to do with it, and if we want to expand into this area, I'm kind of keeping it as an extra thing, maybe. And across this side here, no, not this side here, over on this bit, there we go. Over on this bit is where I'm planning on having the academy, university, college thing on this edge here, like it's all on its own. It's like an old castle that was to watch this part of it, and it's just been repurposed. They haven't had a big enough attack, it's just too much cost, and then the college took it over. I don't know, something like that. But guys, that is my plan for now. It's going to change, and it's going to be tweaked over time, I think. But tell me what you think, and obviously thank you guys for all of your suggestions. It's been absolutely awesome seeing them all. What I'll try and do is keep the plan up to date, because I do want to make it quite detailed. One of the things I really want to do with this city is have multi-levels, so, you know, you might have the port lower down, but then you might have some houses, and then you have like a street going over, you might have streets going under bridges and things like that. I want to keep it, I want to make it feel really, really multi-leveled, so you almost go, you know, you can go across the street and then go, oh look, there's stuff down there, I didn't see that before, and then you can, you know, go down some, you know, another path, and it will weave down, and then you'll get underneath it, and you go, oh, go underneath that, and it's, I really want it to feel quite like you would get lost in it, so that would be a good idea. But thanks for watching, guys. All of them are going to be in time-lapse format for the building of this, because it just has to, otherwise we'll end up with 10,000 episodes. So it'll be in time-lapse format, and I did ask you guys before what kind of format you want that, and if you just want music or you want me talking, and it seems you guys want me talking, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it the same as the Decker Ages style from back in the day, those 4-year-old videos. So we're going to do it in that same style, so there'll be some music in the background, but it'll be me talking about what I'm doing on camera, and we'll try and go through everything. Now, what I might do at the end of the time-lapse is actually sit down and walk you guys through what I've actually done, so that might be quite interesting, and any interiors or stuff like that I might do as live streams, just so we can get through as much as possible for you guys that are interested in seeing that side of it. So that's what I'm planning on doing. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.